On a normal Monday morning, the bank branch was bustling with customers coming and going. Everyone was impeccably dressed, appearing busy with work or personal transactions. That day, Mary, a black woman, walked into the bank dressed simply: jeans, a jacket, and sneakers. No one in the bank realized that she was the newly appointed president of the branch. When Mary entered the bank, the atmosphere became tense. The employees behind the counter quickly glanced at her with critical eyes. Other people in the waiting area also began to look at her, curious and uncomfortable. Mary's simple attire seemed out of place in the bank's luxurious setting. She must have come to the wrong place, someone murmured loud enough for Mary to hear. The whispers gradually spread, but Mary didn't care. She kept her face calm, her gaze fixed straight ahead, ignoring the mocking comments. She walked toward the counter with a confident demeanor. Every step reflected determination, even though the tension around her continued to grow. As she sat down at the counter, before she could say anything, a teller named Kelly looked at her with an impatient and sarcastic expression. "Excuse me, are you here to apply for a loan?" "I'm afraid the bank doesn't have any money available today," Kelly said, faintly smiling as she glanced over Mary's shoulder toward the other employees. Some of them also smirked mockingly. Kelly continued, "Maybe you should step outside and wait. We'll call you if we have time to attend to you if we have time at all." Mary remained silent. Her eyes narrowed slightly, but she showed no anger. In her mind, she couldn't understand how the bank she had been assigned to was full of discrimination, not just based on skin color, but also on appearance. She took a deep breath, calmed herself, and made a decision. She needed to change this workplace. In a soft yet firm voice, she said, "I'm not here to apply for a loan." When she finished speaking, some employees began to laugh, as if what she had said was ridiculous. Kelly, still wearing a sarcastic expression, replied, "Then you must be here to collect some benefits, right? If not, you're probably in the wrong place. Why don't you go outside and wait so we can work?" Kelly's words not only carried mockery, but also deep contempt. Several employees glanced at Mary, trying to suppress their laughter. But Mary didn't flinch. She looked directly at Kelly with a cold yet calm gaze. She knew it wasn't the time to argue or assert her authority. Growing increasingly impatient, Kelly said in a threatening tone, "You'd better leave. If you don't, I'll call security." The tension in the room grew even thicker. Mary, still composed, replied, "I'd like to see the branch manager. I have some matters to discuss." This statement surprised Kelly, who raised her eyebrows in suspicion. "Do you have an appointment? Our manager is very busy. Not just anyone can meet with them whenever they want," she said disdainfully. Mary stood up, still calm, and with a slight smile, she said, "All right, I'll leave. But when I come back tomorrow, you'll know who I am." Mary's words left Kelly and the others bewildered, though they tried to maintain their smug demeanor. Mary exited the bank, leaving a momentary silence behind her. However, as soon as the door closed, the murmurs began again. "Who does she think she is, saying something like that?" one clerk asked. Another added, "She must think she's someone important. Even if she comes back, nothing will change." Kelly sneered. "She probably thinks she's some big boss. We don't have to worry about her." One employee commented, "Who does she think she is to say that?" Another added, "She must think she's someone important. Even if she comes back, nothing will change." Kelly sneered, "She probably thinks she's some big boss. We don't have to worry about her." The employees continued mocking her, unaware that Mary's words were about to change their lives forever. As she left the bank, Mary took out her phone and called the branch manager, Mr. Richard. Her voice was calm, but filled with seriousness. "Hello, Mr. Richard. This is Mary. I just left your branch, and I need to speak with you about what I just experienced." Richard, startled upon hearing Mary's name, realized who she was. He knew about her appointment, but hadn't expected her to show up so suddenly. He immediately asked, concerned, "Mary, were you at my branch? What happened?" Mary detailed how she had been ridiculed and disrespected by the bank staff simply because of her appearance and skin color. She emphasized that it wasn't just a personal issue, but a reflection of how the entire system operated unprofessionally and disrespectfully toward customers. Richard listened with a tense expression. The more he heard, the angrier he became. He couldn't believe his staff had treated a customer that way, let alone the branch's new president. Clenching his teeth, he tried to stay calm. "Mary, I am deeply sorry for what you went through. I've received some complaints before, but I never thought it was this serious." Mary, keeping her tone calm but firm, replied, "It's fine. I don't want to make things difficult for you, but I want you to call a meeting with all the employees immediately. I will attend, and we'll discuss how to run this bank." Richard, understanding the gravity of the situation, agreed immediately. The next morning, all the staff and management team gathered in the conference room. Mr. Richard sat at the head of the table, his face serious, saying nothing. His eyes stared into the distance as the room grew increasingly tense. The conference room door opened, and Mary entered. The employees who had mocked her the day before stared in disbelief. Some began whispering to one another, "There she is again." They didn't understand why she had returned and still didn't realize the truth about who she was. Mary walked straight to the chair at the head of the table, the chair everyone knew was reserved for the director. Without hesitation, she placed her bag down and sat, surprising and bewildering everyone in the room. The murmurs gradually died down, and all eyes turned to her. Mr. Richard stood up, looked around the room, and said in a solemn voice, "Please welcome Mary. She is our new branch president." The conference room fell into an absolute silence. The employees who had ridiculed her the day before turned pale, unable to believe that the person they had looked down on was now their leader. An air of tension and discomfort filled the room as everyone realized that their disrespect had reached the ears of someone with the power to determine their future. Mary gently raised her hand, interrupting before anyone could speak. Her voice was firm but calm. "There's no need to welcome me. I came here yesterday, and everyone in this room already knows me." The room remained silent. No one dared to speak. Mary continued, scanning each face with a gaze that blended authority and disapproval. "Yesterday, I walked in here as a regular customer. I wasn't wearing a fancy suit or high heels. I wanted to see how a simple black woman would be treated, and the result was very clear to me." A few employees lowered their heads, visibly ashamed. But Mary didn't stop. She continued with a powerful yet understanding tone. "Not only was I ridiculed, but I was also denied service simply because of my appearance. But today, I'm not here to punish anyone. I'm here to give you an opportunity to change the way you see and do things." The room became quieter than ever. All eyes were on Mary, filled with respect and concern. She looked around the room, her sharp gaze moving from one person to another. "From now on, everyone here will treat each other, and our customers, equally, regardless of skin color, gender, or any other characteristic. We are here to work, to support one another, and to create a professional environment." Some employees swallowed nervously, feeling the weight of Mary's words. "If anyone here feels they cannot meet these new standards, I'm sorry, but this will no longer be your workplace." The silence in the room grew even deeper, but this time it was a respectful silence. Everyone understood that the easy days were over and that a new era under Mary's leadership had begun. Mary continued, her tone growing even more determined. "We must all respect one another, no matter who we are or what our background is. Every customer must be treated fairly, without discrimination or judgment based on appearance or any other reason." She paused, looking into the eyes of each employee to ensure her message was understood. "We are not just a bank. We are a community. I want everyone here to feel proud of where they work and for our customers to feel respected from the moment they walk through that door." Mary's words were a wake-up call for everyone in the room. No one dared to speak or react. They simply remained silent, overwhelmed by the weight of her words. Mary stood for a moment, observing the silence that had fallen over the room. Finally, she nodded slightly, stood up, and walked out of the conference room. The door closed behind her, leaving an unusually quiet space and a deep impression on everyone present. If this video has helped you connect more with yourself and inspired your journey of growth, take action and subscribe to the Vidasto Inspiration channel to discover more stories that will fill you with motivation and hope. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment sharing how this story has impacted your life or what reflections it has left you with. And if you think this message can inspire someone you know, share it with your friends so they too can find inspiration and purpose in their lives.